Hi everybody, it's the Soap Man, and you see the double crock pot, so you know what that means. Granny's fixing to cook her lye soap down by the cement pond. Only I'm not down by the cement pond, I'm up here in the soap lab at church, going to do some hot process, and when I do it up here to get this larger batch, I have to have 2 crock pots. So, and the one crock pot's going to be the solid color, which is chrome green oxide from Crafter's Choice. And it'll be just this in the one crock pot. And the other will be titanium dioxide, pure white, and then I'll swirl the two together when they're cooked and fragranced, and then I'll put some white on the top. And I got a pretty good result last time I did that. And I'm going to fragrance this with Alpine Frost from Crafter's Choice. I've used this many times in cold process and I love it. I have never used it in hot process. I can only imagine it will actually be better if anything, because hot process is not as rough on your soap because it doesn't go through saponification. It's not as rough on your fragrance, that is, because it doesn't go through saponification. So what I'm going to do is find my stuff that I had all laid out and ready, trying to be organized, and I've lost my spoon. Here it is. So we're going to get the green into this. And I think 4 will do, which is good because that's just about all I have. Just barely that. Just finish that up. Give that a blend. Now this isn't like micas. This is an oxide. It's not like micas. It won't have that shimmery, mesmerizing effect, unfortunately. That's all it's going to do. I'm going to put the same amount over here in the white. For the white. I might even put just a little bit more, because I want this nice and bright. We'll give it a good buzz and get it mixed in well. And let's get our lime. Now, I don't worry about temperature, as y'all know, with my hot process. I just do it as it is because we're going to separate anyway, so who cares? So I pour my scalding hot lye water into my very, very hot oils. And I will rinse those out in the sink in just a minute. And I give them both a really, really good stick blending. Now that's going to go for a long time. I won't bore you with that. I'll shut us down and I'll be back when we're at the first stage. Alright, let's try this again. I think it's time for a new camera, y'all, because it's messing up again. But let's see. But we're starting to cook. So here's our green. And this is the newer crock pot, which must get just a little hotter because this seems to cook just a little faster. So what I'll probably do is halfway through just switch. I'll put the white in this newer base. But we are just now getting to the applesauce stage. And here's the white, just a little bit behind, but it's starting to separate, which is good, because that's what it's supposed to do. But anyway, we are at the beginning of our soap starting to cook. So I will see you in just a little while. Alright, now we're in better shape. I put the white in the newer base and it's catching up now, cooking well. And we are at full applesauce stage. So this is the first stage where it looks like applesauce and everything separates, and that's just exactly what it's supposed to do. Here's our green, cooking nicely. Doing the same thing, it's separated. That's a lot of oils on it and it's like nice green, dark green applesauce, just exactly what it's supposed to do. So things are moving along just beautifully. I'll bring you back when we get to mashed potato stage. Okay, I don't think we're quite at mashed potatoes, but we're getting there. We're real close, which means this is going to get really, really active, and I got to really stand here and watch this closely because it's filling up with air while it's doing that. So you just give it a nice good stir, and that lets some of the air out and deflates it, but it's going to get really wild here in the next couple of minutes. And then once it calms down, after it goes through this really wild stage, it goes into the Vaseline or the gel stage, and it's soap. So actually we're getting pretty close. So I will see you in just a little while. Less than 2 minutes later, we're at mashed potato stage. We got nice big fluffy mashed potatoes. We're not quite at the gel stage yet. It's not quite soap, but it's starting to calm down. It didn't get as active as it did last time. Last time I was up here, it really got wild on me. But it is nice fluffy mashed potatoes, and I am starting to see some like shiny spots, which is where it's going into gel. Now this is the older crock pot that apparently does not cook quite as hot, so it's a little bit behind, but it's very minimal. And it's slowing down, calming down, and I'm seeing some shiny on it too, which means it's starting to gel. So it will be soap in just a little while. I'll see you when we're ready to do our next phase. Alright, we are at gel phase. This is soap. The next thing I do is to add sodium lactate. You don't have to, completely optional. Normally you would add 1 teaspoon per pound of oils, which would be for this about 4 teaspoons. The last time I did, I messed up and put 4 tablespoons, and it stayed way fluid for way longer. I'm not going to put quite that much. I'm going to put 3 tablespoons, which is more than the recommended, and I kept one of the bars and I loved it, so that absolutely did not hurt him at putting in too much. And what this does is this actually keeps it fluid much longer, because it's pretty fluid and pretty workable now, but I can't fragrance it because it's too hot. It's way too hot to fragrance. It's got to cool down. I usually like to let it get, in the neighborhood between 160 and 170, and I don't have my thermometer. I'm going to just have to kind of guess. But when it gets that cool, it thickens up some because it's starting to set up into, the hard soap that it's supposed to be. So I am just going to go ahead and stir my sodium lactate in and let this start the long process of cooling down. It'll probably have to sit at least a half an hour. I'll come back every 5 minutes or so and give it a good stir to pull some of the hot from the bottom and the cooler down into the bottom, and let it mix up really well. And then we'll be ready to fragrance it and get it into the mold. So since I'm here at the church, I am going to go on into the sanctuary and practice some music for Sunday. Make good use of my downtime. So, I'm just going to let that sit and cool, and I will see you when we're ready for fragrancing. Okay, I am back. I went ahead and fragranced this because when you fragrance hot process, there is a lot of stirring, and it gets a bit on the boring side. So I went ahead and did that, and we're still really nice and fluid. So what I'm going to do is take about 2/3 of the white and get it into this beautiful green. And I'm not measuring, I'm just kind of eyeballing, which is perfectly fine with this type of job. And I don't want to actually blend these. I just want them to swirl. I don't want the white and the green to mix. So I'm gently folding and turning. until I think it looks good. And I do believe that's good enough, so let's get this into the mold. I'm sure you can see. And my camera is probably not picking it up very well, but this white and this dark green just look fantastic together. And actually this really dark green will probably lighten as it hardens up and dries out. But oh, this just looks so good. I'll kind of shimmy that out and flatten it down. Then we'll give this a smack on the floor. Now let's just kind of flatten that out just a little bit. And then let's get the rest of this white on top. And folks, I'm calling this done. We are finished. So this is just going to sit overnight. I'll be back tomorrow evening for choir practice, and I will cut this and we'll see what it looks like tomorrow. So thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you tomorrow for the cut. Okay, it's the next day and it's time to cut our hot process soap. Things went very well. Loving the way it looks. That green has turned back to that beautiful green that it normally does. It was really, really dark in the crock pot because it was in full gel phase, but now that it's, you know, cooled down and hardened, it's just absolutely beautiful. And let's just dive right into it. Cut this into some logs and cut the logs into bars. Just like the last one with the blue and the purple before that, looks fantastic. Shoot. these here ready to go. So let's load these up. Let's start with the center one. It's just a little bit wider. And for me, that's not a big deal. I don't worry too much about it because I'm not selling them, so I'm not having to be precise. So the center bar measures just slightly bigger. Yeah, beautiful. Love that. All right, let's cut some from the other logs. They're probably going to all look the same. I did notice I didn't get the white quite evenly. It kind of forced itself down into there and displaced the other, but that's okay. Now this one's a little more even. You know, the white and the green, a fairly even line across. But that's one of the things that's neat about hot process too, is it's not, you know, it is a bit more rustic. So that makes it a little more authentic to hot process soap anyway. Yeah, very nice. And then let's cut this one on the end. It's a little more uniform. Let's see what we have with it. Yeah, I really like these. So I will get these lined up and get a couple of pictures, and I'll get this uploaded, and hopefully y'all enjoyed watching this. I enjoyed making it. And as always, thank y'all for watching, and stay safe and take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time around. Bye everybody.